All right, guys, today I'm going to give you my opinion on quick oil changes. Let's get into it. Everybody thinks that an oil change is an oil change. Everybody does the same kind of thing, right? And because of that, there's been a whole automotive industry that's popped up. And I think it started off with they still have 30-minute quick lanes. Now there's 10-minute, get your oil change in 10 minutes. Now it's even 5 minutes. Sit in your car and have a soda, and we'll do the oil service while you're sitting in the car in 5 minutes, right? Do you want to have this done? Well, we're going to talk about in this video is 3 things that could potentially happen that are not good when you're getting these quick oil services. We're going to talk about a 4th little bonus one. I'll give you a little story what happened to a friend of mine. And then I'll give you the one upside that I think maybe when you would use one of these places. So let's start off with one of the first kind of negative thing that can happen when you go into one of these places. You're not going to get a full inspection done in 5 minutes or 10 minutes or even 30 minutes, right? You want the car inspected. And for those of you that have watched our videos, you know that we're all about inspecting the vehicle. Now, I'm not talking about high pressure sales. I'm talking about looking the vehicle over each time it comes in. We used to do 3,000 mile oil services, so we got to see the vehicle roughly every 3 months, right? Now we're doing 5,000 mile oil services, which means we're only going to see it once every 5 months, maybe even longer than that if you don't drive very much during the year. It might be we only see the vehicle 2 times a year. And if you follow the manufacturer's recommendations, you might not do an oil service until 7,000 or 10,000 or 12,000 miles, right? Some even more than that. So when you bring it in, you want to have the vehicle looked over, even if it's every 5 months. Lots of things can happen in 5 months. A tire can get worn completely off. You could bump a curb going through a drive-through, not even really realize it, have knocked your alignment out, and within a month, your tire has got edge wear so bad that it's into the cords. And how would you ever know that unless somebody took the time to inspect the vehicle? And having a qualified person inspect the vehicle. And I'm not saying anything bad about the personnel that work at these places. They're following a strict set of rules, which I'm going to get to right now, of the one positive thing that would happen or why you potentially could go there. Let's say that you're crazy overdue on your oil service. You need to go on a trip. You've waited too long. You have got no other opportunity. Nobody can get you in. There's no oil services available at a facility that's going to do a full vehicle inspection. You just want to get new oil in the car. If you're just looking to get new oil in the car, okay. The good thing about these places are they tend to use the right oil because it's very structured for a type of personnel that maybe need a little more guidance. That's the best way of putting it. And so a lot of things are in the system where it says this vehicle VIN number, use this oil. So you're not going to get the incorrect oil put in it. So back into our problem number 1, the inspection part of it. A lot of people are going to say, oh no, they inspect my vehicle. They do look my vehicle over when it comes in. And they will look your vehicle over for the things that they do. And quite honestly, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with this. Businesses are in the business to make money. I get that. But what they're going to look at are things like air filters, cabin air filters. They're going to look at quick items that they can do. They do a lot of fluid services. This is where sometimes the fluid services get a bad name. What type of fluid are they using in it? Are they using the right fluid in there? Fluid is going to be part of this story that I'm going to tell you at the end. And it's a pretty funny story, to be honest with you. But, then if you decide, they come to you and they say, it's time for a transmission flush. And then you go, well, I want to get that done. I'm here. They can get it done in a few minutes, right? They're going to, go ahead and do it. Is the right fluid being used in that? Because sometimes they do use a very general fluid there that will work in the car. But is it the best thing for the transmission and the longevity? That's up for debate. During the inspection that they're doing, imagine how much time they have. They've got 30 minutes to do the oil service and the inspection. And we've shown you some cars where it takes 10 minutes to get the shielding off under the car off just to do the inspection and make sure there's no oil leaks or anything, right? And we've shown you how many times you don't even know that a vehicle has an oil leak until those shields come down. So how long does it take to do that? They're not doing that in 5 minutes. They're not doing that in 10 minutes on most cars today. That stuff's not getting looked at, right? They're going to be very confined in the finite amount of time that they have to get this thing done, yes, they have multiple people going. They've got somebody on top, they've got somebody on the bottom. They usually have a pit or some type like that, and they're trying to get it done as quick as possible. I get that, but it can't be done to the thoroughness that I would consider acceptable. I'll leave it at that. Problem number 2, and you can run into this problem at a lot of places, including shops, regular shops, but it's getting to be where a lot of the high quality shops are going to want to use a high quality part. When you go into a quickie oil service place, even if sometimes even at the dealer, because they're trying to go on speed and price, sometimes you're not getting the best quality parts. In this case, filters, right? I'm not speaking for the one you go to. I'm speaking for generality, or in generalities here. They tend to buy very inexpensive filters. They buy them in bulk, and they buy them very inexpensively. So they might have $2 in a filter, $1.50, $2 in a filter, and then they're making good money off of that, right? So most shops, an oil service does not make a lot of money for the shop. It's just, you've got to be in a realm of reality. Even if it's $100, $110 on something, even if it's expensive, crazy expensive on a Mercedes, the amount of time that you spend on it and the products that you use tend to add up pretty quickly. These places are making pretty decent money, and I'm not saying they're cheap, because a lot of places that are 5 minutes or 10 minutes might advertise $19 or $29, but then when you get in there, yours is a little different, or takes a little more oil, or takes a different kind of oil, or whatever it might be. But at the end of the day, you're probably not getting the best products in there. And cars are expensive. I mean, they're crazy expensive. We want to use the best products, the best filters. We want to stay on top of that. When something changes in the industry, like we've shown you with filters, right? Do we want to change brands because we need a better quality product? These are things that we look at from a quality standpoint, and a lot of the quickie oil service places are looking at it from a profit standpoint, which I totally get. But I'm just telling you the downside of it, because many people, like I said at the beginning, think that an oil service is an oil service. Real quick, guys, do us a favor. Leave me a comment down below. Have you had any good or bad experiences with the quick oil service places? I'd love to read them. And while you're down there doing that, hit that subscribe button and hit that thumbs up. All right, let's get back to the video. This is the perfect example for number 3. This vehicle, and we get this all the time. I mean, all the time. Vehicles come in with clips missing. So here's a clip missing on this. We get them with screws missing, push pin clips missing, right? Shields missing completely. And why is that? Well, they're rushing. They're trying to get this done. They got 5 minutes to get this done. Let's look at this vehicle right here. In order to get to the drain plug on this vehicle, this shielding has to come off. That's going to take some time for them to do that, right? And they're in a hurry. They're under time constraints. Got to go, 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 go. How much, let's say this thing right here, I was supposed to have a push pin in it, or maybe there was supposed to be a clip there with a screw in it. Okay, it fell on the ground. They don't have time to look for it. It'll be all right. It'll be okay, right? And that's a problem, right? Whereas a more quality controlled facility, right? A facility that's looking for quality over speed will go, oh, we're missing this clip, like we're going to do on this one. We'll go over, we keep those push pins, we keep all kind of clips for these things, so that we can then put that back in, because they do break. It may not be that they lost the clip. It may be that when they pulled the clip out, the clip broke. That happens all the time. There are plastic clips, they're down here, things are hitting them, right? So, but you want it back together the right way. The other thing is this: we see quite a few stripped oil pans from quickie lube places that come in, and from even the big box stores, right? They'll come in and go, oh, the oil pan's stripped, and they'll pay for it. They will say, yep, we stripped it, we'll pay for it. Problem is, why are they stripping it? And how many have been put back together incorrectly but didn't strip? But they're not torquing the bolts back on. I would love to see some comments down here on somebody that's actually watched them with a torque wrench torque those things back on. They're not torquing the drain plugs back in. And this one has a plastic pan on it. You can't really see it here. Like there's a plastic transmission pan. There's a plastic oil pan on this thing. Now I'm sure it's got one of the weird plugs. I'd have to pull it down and look at it. But they tend to look, not saying this is the one for it, but they could look something like that. I mean, that's an oil drain plug, right? And when they need to be replaced, they need to be replaced. So we want to be sure that that's available for them. There's lots of those plugs that are plastic that need to get put in a certain way. If you don't put them back right, you don't torque them correctly, right? Or you don't replace the gasket, then we're going to have issues. You're going to have issues with the oil pan. And guess what? It won't be that time. They'll put the drain plug back in, over tighten it. It won't leak. Everything will be fine right then. You go to get the oil change the next time. Maybe you go somewhere else, right? And they go, hey, we pulled the drain plug out of it, the pan's stripped. Don't be mad at that place. When you're pulling, a bolt out, all you can do is pull the bolt out. You don't be mad at them. You be mad at whoever was the last one that did it, because they're the ones that over tightened it. The same thing putting wheels on. If somebody puts wheels on and they don't torque them down, they hit them too hard. The next person that tries to take them off can't get them off. That might be you on the side of the road, by the way, if on a wheel situation. So we want to be sure that we've got the time to spend. It only takes a few minutes. I get that. But these few minutes to look up the torque spec, get a torque wrench, set the torque wrench, put it on there, tighten it down properly. Before doing that, coming over, finding the proper drain plug gasket out of all the gaskets that we have, or a new drain plug. These minutes add up, right? And they add up to more than 5 or 10 or 30 minutes. We can generally get the oil service done in 30 minutes if we're just talking about the oil service part of it. Most cars, but we're not getting the oil service along with the inspection done in that amount of time. It's just not possible, not doing it and making sure everything is done right. So a bonus before the bonus. The other thing is, some of these places are more multi-service places, and so they will do things like tires and brakes and stuff like that. And maybe when they get the oil service done, if you ask them, they can check your brakes or check your tires. But if they're pulling this thing in and there's a pit, well, they're not rotating your tires. And so if they can't rotate your tires, now your tire life is going to be shortened because you're not rotating the tires properly. And again, like I said, in an emergency situation, you just got to get the oil service because you're overdue. At least check the tire pressures, which most of them are going to do that, I hope. But what if they're not really looking at the tires, right? To be sure, looking at the inside, making sure they're good. It could be a potential problem. Let's get to the final part of it, to the bonus and to the story of my friend. I've known him since he's, I think, 6 or 7 years old. Family, they're pretty much family. And for years, he went to a quickie oil service place. It's kind of funny because something actually just happened with his daughter. I'll add to the story right here. So he went to this quickie oil service place for just ever. And then he had to bring it into us for something. He's like, hey, something more than they would do. So he brought it into us. He's having some issues. And I said, well, let me see your service records. I want to look at the service records. I want to look at the history. I want to see what's been done to it. And so we can make recommendations based on that. So I'm flipping. He's got every one of them in his glove box. And I'm flipping through them. He's going in for his oil services religiously. He's going in every 5,000 miles. And every 5,000 miles, almost without exception, he's getting a power steering flush. And I'm looking at that going, okay, well, back then, this has been a few years ago, on that ticket it was $79 for a power steering flush, which was kind of inexpensive for a power steering flush even back then. But here's the thing, it's like you're literally getting a power steering flush done every 5,000 miles. And I asked him, I said, did you even look at this stuff? He goes, well, if it just tells me, they tell me it needs it, I just do it. I'm like, well, did you not think that you just did it 5,000 miles ago? Yeah, sure, I don't, they tell me I need it, I just do it. And I'm not, again, I don't know. I can't speak for that place. All I can say is you don't need a power steering flush every 5,000 miles. The oil in the power steering system was probably as clean as what was coming out of the bottle that was going in the power steering system. And how much money are you saving there? I mean, you're not saving anything by doing it like that. And a lot of times these places aren't inexpensive, right? You're paying for a convenience factor, and which is why they can sell an inexpensive filter. They buy the oil in massive bulk because they're mostly big companies, right? So they're making good money on the oil, and they're doing it fast. So the convenience is costing you some money. Yeah, they might have a ladies' day special of 29 or 19 or whatever it is these days. But by the time you get out of there, a lot of them are even more expensive than, or at least as expensive as going into a more full service facility that is going to inspect your vehicle on it. We have talked to a couple of people that have worked at those places, and I will tell you, I mean, they're a corporate world, right? And they are held to a certain standard of make sure that you get a sell, an upsell with an oil service, right? So that's why that one place was getting a power steering flush every time. And I hate to say it's about the people that are working there. They're, when your paycheck is linked, and this is why we have whole discussions on the way people are paid and everything. But when your paycheck is directly linked to, I have to sell a service, a certain amount of services or a certain type of service. That's, I don't mind people making a bonus or commission off of what they, of selling things, but it can't be off, well, you need to sell a certain amount of air filters this month, or you need to sell a certain amount of power steering flushes this month, or whatever. You need to sell X number of power steering flushes and X number of air filters, or whatever it may be, right? Because I don't know that those cars are going to come in that need that stuff, right? I just want to say, look the car over, present everything to the client, and then, let's have a discussion. We'll figure out what's best for the car and what's best for the client at that time. But in those places, it tends to be really, really fast. And it's about getting you, get something in the car, sell you something and get you out the door. And that's what they're based on. Little side note to that story. So now my friend's daughter, who is, again, she's like a daughter to us. She has her own car now, and she was running overdue on her oil service, and he texted me and said, hey, Georgia's overdue on her oil service, and I said, well, I'm gonna have to try to call Sherwin and get in for an oil service. She's like, can't we just take it to a cookie place? And he put his little smiley faces on there, so I had to send her a little meme there on that. But here's the thing. This is why, we're doing this video, because people don't know there is a difference. And you do want your car looked over. You do want honest inspection of the vehicle, thorough inspection of the vehicle, presented with everything. Make sure it's safe to drive. Make sure there's no lingering issues or something that's going to cost you more money down the road. And the oil services are the best time to do that, because you know what? In a lot of cases, most cases for us, we can let somebody know, hey, on your next oil service, you're going to need brakes. Or on 2 oil services from now, you're going to probably need some tires. We're going to need to keep a look at that, right? Or whatever it might be. We can let people know way ahead of time on a lot of things that something coming up. You can prepare time, money, convenience. All that can be prepared, ready to go. You walk in the door, I'm ready to get those tires. You're not going to get that if you go quickie oil service, quickie oil service, quickie oil service, quickie oil service, and then you pop into a repair facility and they go, hey, you need a whole bunch of stuff. Yeah, because it hasn't been looked at. All right, guys, I hope you liked the video. If you did, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification so you know when we drop a video. Give us a thumbs up and leave a comment down below. Let me know, have you had some good luck or bad luck with quickie oil service places? I'd love to read them. Appreciate you watching. We'll see you in the next one.